Welcome back to TaraChessAcademy, and today we will be discussing a typical sacrifice on f7.
Hi everyone, for today we prepared an interesting position for you, so let's start. In the position on the chessboard, you see that white has a pretty good knight on e5, and by the way, this knight is also an outpost, yeah? Maybe we can say several words about the meaning of an outpost. Yeah, it's a piece that is situated at the territory of your opponent. Yeah, if we say that like from the first rank to the fourth rank, it's kind of like white's territory. From the fifth rank to the last rank, it's kind of like black's territory, yeah? So if white has a piece at the fifth rank, sixth rank, seventh rank, for instance, so probably this piece could be an outpost. But it's also very important that an outpost should be defended by the pawn. And some books say that it's not important if it's situated on the open or half-open files. Some book gonna say that it's important, so I think that it's a huge plus if your outpost is on the open or half-open file. Yeah, so this knight is very good. We also see a rook and a queen on e-file. Yeah, so as Tara said before, the topic is a sacrifice on f7, yeah? So, of course, we would be happy to get the pawn on e6, but while it's defended by the pawn on f7, yeah, I don't think that we want to sacrifice the queen, for instance. So, Tara, what ideas do you have?
So as you said, it's f7, and you might be thinking to use our knight and capture the pawn on f7, because we told you that it's a sacrifice on f7, but as always, it's important to calculate ahead. So if the knight captures the pawn and the king takes back, what might we do next? Well, next, maybe I'll capture the pawn with my queen. So let's take a look at that position. The knight captures the pawn.
Yeah, I don't think that it's a good idea to just ignore this move, yeah? So that's why king takes. And what is the next move?
The queen captures the pawn.
Good for us that the queen is defended. The only move that the king has is f8. What happens then?
Then we really want to make a checkmate on f7 because our queen would like to get to f7, but it doesn't have a helper. So you might be thinking if either of the bishops could be the helper or if the rooks could be the helper. And another idea that you might also have is if the knight on f6 is disappeared from the board, if it's just simply gone off the board, we could move our bishop to h5 and then bring our queen to f7. And for this reason, you might be thinking that it's a bad idea to bring our bishop to h5 because then the knight would just capture the bishop. But as always, we should look for our opponent's checks, captures, and threats. So it's still important to analyze this move. So if the knight captures, and our bishop is also attacking the knight. And so if the knight attacks the bishop, or if the knight captures the bishop on h5, we can see that we have 3 attackers to the bishop on e7 and only 2 defenders to that bishop. So we could simply capture the bishop and we'll get our piece back.
Yeah, I think it's important to calculate attackers and defenders. Yeah, so especially if you capture something, so always make sure like how many pieces do attack, how many pieces do defend, right? So that's why, as Tara said, white has 3 attackers and black has 2 defenders. Yeah, so, and also good for us that after bishop e7, black just can't ignore this move. Black has to capture the bishop because no moves for the king. So the rook takes, the queen takes, king goes to g8. If we evaluate the position, we can say that white got so much extra material. A rook and 2 pawns for 2 pieces. Yeah, so 7 points for 6 points. But I think the main problem is also not a good position of black pieces, that fact that white controls the 7th rank. And I think that white has a good square for one of the pieces. Yeah, so as always, especially in the middle game, it's important to improve position of your pieces. And if we have an attack, let's try to use some new pieces in attack. So Tara, what ideas do you have?
So we already have the rook on e1, which is on an open file, because an open file is a file that has no pawns on it, and that means that the e file is an open file. So the rook on e1 is doing just fine. But take a look at the knight on c3. It's not in the action right now. So we can add it into the action, or we can bring it closer to our attack on the king by moving it to e4.
Yeah, so knight e4, it's not because we want the knight to stay in the center, yeah, because it's good to have a knight in the center. If you think just about general ideas, it will not improve your position a lot. So I think that this knight wants to get to d6. d6 looks like a weak square. It's a fork. The same time the knight gonna attack f7. So I think this is the real improvement of its position. Yeah, not e4 square, but d6. So, okay, Tara, what would you do if black maybe tries to trade queens? So, what ideas do you have?
Well, if black tries to trade queens, it may be tempting to just capture the queen, and after the rook takes the queen, you might be thinking of moving the knight to d6, because so the rook captures and knight to d6.
So yeah, because if the rook takes, so the knight attacks the bishop. Where to move it? If it moves here, for instance, I think we just control the last rank. Yeah, we can get maybe this pawn, so this position doesn't look so good for black. Yeah, but I agree that this position is nice. But also let's discuss, you remember, if the knight goes to d6 immediately. So what happens? It looks like a fork, yeah? I don't think that it makes any sense for black, for instance, to try something like this. Yeah, we can capture the knight. We have queen f7 with this idea, yeah? So, like, it's not good. So probably queen takes e7, rook takes e7, and now we attack two pieces, yeah? And I don't see how black can protect both of them, yeah? Because if the bishop goes to c8, what would you do? Yeah, so the idea is to protect the knight.
So here I would move my rook to e8.
Okay, rook to e8. Yeah. Knight moves here.
Now we just have a free piece. Rook takes c8.
Yeah, I think you can do this. This variation is nice. Yeah, you got an extra material. And you also traded the rooks, yeah? So maybe this was the reason of playing rook e8 first. Or you could take the bishop, yeah? And try something like this. But I like your plan maybe even more, just because, it's a rule. If you have an extra material, so just try to trade pieces, yeah? So maybe without the black rook on the chessboard, it's even easier for you to win. And you also attack the pawn. Even if black moves it away, you get the pawn on b6, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. Nice position, so many options to win. So you see, after bishop h5, so this move doesn't look like a blunder. Just taking the bishop is not the best idea, but to be honest, after bishop h5, I think it's hard to give a good advice for black. So, by the way, maybe we can discuss the moves that happened in the game, because in the game black preferred to play knight e5, yeah, just to protect f7 from mate. But after queen takes e5, black just resigned. So this position happened in the game of two grandmasters, yeah. So, and grandmaster who played black decided not to play this position without two pawns and a weak king. But yeah, maybe In this position, it takes more time for white to win. Yes, so an extra material is just 2 pawns. After knight takes h5, white gets a little bit more. But of course, this position is should be winning for white, so it's hard for black to play. And to be honest, I don't see any good advices for black. Yeah.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to others. I'll see you on my next video. Bye!
Bye!